Welcome to the 40 Portal, babe. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Catherine Zach. Before we dive in, I want to ask you something. How much of your day, today, your actual day, the hours you have, how many are spent managing other people's needs, other people's feelings, other people's calendars, other people's emotional lives, other people's dentist appointments, and how much of your day is spent on yours? If you felt something in your body just now, a little tightness, a little terror, a little laughter, a little what the fuck, OMG, holy shit. This episode is for you. This episode is for me. This episode is for all of us. I am talking to my dear friend, Kim Wensel, today. Kim slid into my DMs 7 years ago. True story. We were both creative entrepreneurs in the Washington, D.C. area. And what started as a question about a potential work collaboration has transformed into a deep and lasting friendship. One I am very grateful for. She is actually one of the small handful of women who I am like on the daily sending voice memos to about the stuff that we talk about in this episode, about the stuff that we're navigating in midlife as it unfolds in our real life. Thank God for these friendships. Kim is a writer. She is a traveler. She's a business owner. She's a podcaster in her own right. She is a mom. And she is someone who is very good at anticipating what everyone else needs. Sound familiar? And she's also a little done with that. And I am too. And I see this happening at 40. It is a wildly uncomfortable, sticky, tricky, healing and rebuilding process as we take off the default programs and the conditioning that we were raised with and start to make wilder and truer choices for ourselves without needing to over-explain them to anyone else, without needing to justify them to anyone else, or do it for any other reason than this is what we need, and that is valid. Amen. It's a pattern that we talk about in today's episode. It's one that I am seeing with the women who I know in real life, the women who I work with as clients. It's work that I am up to right now. We talk about the mental load. We talk about invisible labor. We talk about desire in long-term marriage and partnership. We talk about friendship in midlife. And the portal wisdom that we explore together at the end of this episode is a very clear invitation into the decade of giving a little less. And I think it's one that she needed to hear. It's one that I needed to hear. And maybe you need to hear it too. Okay, before we dive in, I have now 2 spots left for my June retreat in the Hudson Valley. It's a small, intimate, vivacious group of women who are standing in their own individual portal moments. And we're doing the work that we talk about in this episode in real life together. 3 days in the Hudson Valley, sitting shoulder to shoulder, exploring our inner landscape and community. I am teaching the exact framework and methodology that I use with my private coaching clients to create a daily practice for yourself, one of self-inquiry, self-compassion, self-understanding, self-sovereignty, the ability to do that thing, to do the thing because it's what you need without having to justify it to everyone else. Okay, if one of those two spots is yours, the link to grab it is in the show notes. I hope to see you there. Okay, let's dive into the episode. Do you remember the first conversation we had?
I remember Instagram messaging you. I don't really, I think there was something around like, hey, I'm doing this event. Can you do yoga? That's what I remember.
I mean, you slid into my DMs.
I know, after like quietly stalking you on the internet.
You know, I feel like probably this is not unique to me, but there's so many times where I like delete social media from my phone. I like swear I'm never going to go on it again. I'll give it up for a couple weeks. But there's like these glimmers of where it is just magic. And when I think of those glimmers, like meeting you, that's it. Like, that's the reason. It's these connections, because even though we geographically lived close to one another, we would have never met.
No, never. We lived completely different lives.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, you were, I don't know how many years out of being a lawyer you were, but you were, you know, in Maryland. I think I was in Virginia at the time, though we could have both been in Maryland. No, I was in Virginia.
I think you're in Virginia.
Right. But, you know, I was living on the surface, very stereotypical, like suburban mom life. I was still working in a nonprofit, like very much still trying to make that first chapter of my career work out, even though history had shown me it wasn't working out as I wanted. And I mean, I was not a yoga babe. I was telling somebody, Kath, this story the other day of where I was scared to do yoga because the one time I tried to go, it was all of these like very stereotypical yogis. And I thought it was a beginner class. And then all of a sudden the instructor was like, okay, and now move. And then headstand. And I was like, oh my God, like I can't look like I don't know what I'm doing. So I threw my body up in the air. First yoga class I had ever taken. And I was like, never again. Like, I am not these people. And so, you know, looking in at you, I was like, she's this very grounded, like spiritual, like earth loving mama. And here I am just frenzied, driving, trying to get to work on time, trying to pick up my kid on time. And that's like this picture that I had of you and the picture that I had of myself.
Oh, there's so like that. There's pictures, those like assumptions we make about each other. So eventually we talked, and I remember because I was like, I remember the room I was sitting in. It was like my back sun porch, which is so funny because now in this house, like it's the sun porch room is my office too. It's such an interesting, parallel, because it felt very like much like a similar room. And we had a Zoom call, and you asked me to do a yoga class at this retreat you were leading. And I was like, well, I don't just do yoga, which now that I look at that, I'm like, what was I trying to hide from too? Because like, I don't know, call me a yoga teacher. That's fine with me now. But I think I was like, this is not really the way I work with people. This is not really the way I work with women. Like, this is a modality I use, but it's not the point.
I actually felt that so strongly. And it's funny because I respected you so much because you were like, well, yoga is like a part of my work, but it's not just yoga. And here is what I tend to offer. And I was like, wow, look at this person who is like, I am happy to entertain this. Let's have this conversation. But just so you know, I'm not just the title that, you know, you're hiring for an hour and drop in and leave. It's not that kind of transactional work. And I actually think that set the tone for us to be able to continue that conversation, because here I was, which you didn't know, really struggling with, how do I ask for the things that I need? Who am I? There's an opportunity coming along. I'm going to say yes, no matter what. And here you were being like, well, hi. I mean, I'd love to talk and learn more, but this is not exactly who I am.
What's interesting to me as we reflect back on this is like, I don't think that I'm like 100% doing a great job at advocating for myself and my needs at every like interaction. And so I'm like, wow, what made me be able to do that in our conversation? We hadn't met. But I'm like, wow, was it because I was talking to another woman, someone who felt like a peer? I don't know. There's just something that's very curious for me about that. That we were able to get to that
And I actually was
conversation
surprised that
together.
you even responded because, I mean, yes, that was a little bit softer days of the internet where you could start to have this conversation. You didn't have your wall up like you were going to get pitched for something, but still, I mean, and this is my own insecurity. It will maybe forever be my insecurity as long as I'm in business for myself. But I didn't have some great large following. And you had been established in your career path for several years. And you were like, that doesn't really matter. Like it was a non-factor how big my audience was. That wasn't weighing into your decision to continue the conversation.
I feel like I got lucky because I mean, there's a whole long conversation we can have, and we actually are having about like the internet and like and for those of us, I mean, we're all interfacing with social media and the virtual landscape on some level, but like for those of us who are in business for ourselves, which a lot of my podcast guests are, and not all of them, there is a lot of pressure and it's been mounting pressure over the last, whatever, 12 years or something like that to like have this thing happen for you on the internet. And like those numbers and that audience is like it's so tied to like how good your work is or the value that you have for other people. Anyways, I just think I got lucky because I started my work in this landscape that I'm still in now, 12 years later, completely 100% in person teaching and working with people. And so I think I was like 5 years in, I was doing the math when you and I first talked, 5 or 6 years in. Yeah. And at that point, I already had like thousands of people that I had worked with and taught because of where I was situated in the world, which is in Washington, D.C., like literally thousands of people coming through the studio every single year. And on social media, I had a little baby following. I still do. The numbers have barely moved, but I think it just, yeah, I say I feel lucky because I wasn't always trying to prove myself in that realm. Now, do I feel the pressure of that from time to time? 1,000%. But it's such a huge part about this moment in time for all of
Yeah, but
us.
that was such a breath of fresh air as someone who is trying to also make a, sharp left turn across opposing traffic in my own career, who had established myself in person for a completely different thing. And so starting a business in the good old online business days, right? Where I had been told by someone, oh, yeah, like I mentioned your name to someone and they asked if you were actually good because they noticed you didn't have a big following. And to me, someone who very much was, I mean, I'll admit it, I was looking for validation in the area I wanted to move into. That was so shocking, but also so like, come on, people, you can buy followers. Like, we're going to believe the internet more than we believe a personal referral. So, anyways, all that is to say, I think that first interaction probably set the stage for where our friendship has been able to come today and like stay connected and go deeper because it was never about that. What can I do for you? What can you do for me? Although it did start with that question, but maybe that was just my reason to be able to get to know you.
Good. Like, wait, we did have that conversation. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I'm trying to do math right now. So that was 7 years ago. No,
7 years ago in March.
7 years ago. Yeah. So coming up on that, which is wild. And so, I mean, we were like babies back then, now that I look at it. And well, we won't say how old you are yet, but it's like the concept of this whole podcast is like the portal is what brings us to these deeper conversations. And I think that you and I have both then had the opportunity to like witness several portals that each of us have walked through over those 7 years. Ones we felt that we were in like in like a parallel portal together, like so much. I mean, I don't have anything else to say except for like what a beautiful reflection of like female friendship and the container that is over time.
And the changes, because as you were doing the math, I thought, oh my gosh, Jack, was he born? Wasn't he born? Jack and Lou were born. So we had babies.
Oh, yeah.
So not only trying to figure out, like, what are we doing with this business thing over here? Who are we becoming as moms? I was in such a fog. I mean, there was so much fog. And then there was clarity. And then there was more fog. And yeah, 7 years.
Wild. Okay, so let's bring our listeners in on who I'm talking to and who you are. My first question is, it's kind of loaded. It's what's your name? What are your pronouns? But also like, what does your name feel like to you? Is there anything deeper to your story, your identity? Like, what's your name?
Oh, just a simple question about identity.
It's such a simple question.
So I'm Kim Wensel, not with a Z, with an S. I am a she, her. And, you know, it's funny, the name thing. So my maiden name is Blessing. And I hated it growing up. Hated it. People will teenagers will find any reason to make fun of you for whatever. How you look, how you sound, what your name is. And so for me, people were always like, oh, Kim, will you bless me? You know? And then I had two grandfathers who were Baptist ministers. And so religion was really forced on me. So with this last name of Blessing and the religion being forced on me in a way that didn't feel true to me. And yet, when I got married, I wasn't sure that I wanted to give up my name because I'm like, I've been through it with this name. People know me. I've come out the other side. And yet, I mean, this was 13, 14 years ago when these thoughts were going through my head and people were saying, oh, but if you know, it'll be so confusing for your kids if you have two last names. What are you going to do? Hyphenate them? Oh, that'll be so long. So, you know, I took my husband's name and now I don't even know, like the last name doesn't really feel like my own, but it just is what it is. Like nobody calls me Mrs. Wensel. Even my daughter's friends, like one of them calls me by my first name, which I don't know. I grew up, my family is Southern. So it's always like, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And so we were actually at her birthday party the other day and I hear, hey, Kim. And I look around and there's this little 12-year-old girl just talking. I mean, it's just not my norm, but that's just who I am. I've been Kim, not Kimberly, for as long as I could make that decision myself, which was probably, 9, 10, 11 years old.
I love that. I couldn't remember your maiden name, but I knew it was something like interesting. And I was thinking Joy in my head. Kim, I don't know. Blessing. What a blessing you are. Okay.
That's exactly why.
You're like, you know what? I once read this like piece of advice and it was like, don't say the first thing that comes into your head when you meet someone because it's the thing that they've heard the most. So it's like, oh my God, you're so tall or you have red hair.
Yeah, I always do that. Oops.
I know. It's okay. I do it too, but here's the reminder. And I think, I don't know if that's the one thing that someone takes away from the 40 Portal podcast.
There it is. We can end now.
Okay. Done. We're out. Okay. How would you introduce yourself if job titles, accomplishments, labels, resumes weren't part of your answer?
Well, I mean, question of my whole life. I gotta admit, there's just like I have to say this before I can go into my answer. I personally get annoyed when people are like, and I'm sorry if you've introduced yourself this way, when people are like, I'm a mama and a dreamer and a whatever. So I'm like, would you ever like introduce yourself and be like, I'm a mama? I don't know. It feels like we're just grasping for something that feels as forced as like the titles that we don't want to grasp for. And this, especially, I saw this actually. Sorry. I saw this on LinkedIn where this like mediocre middle-aged white man like changed his title to be proud daddy something and something. And I was like, God, that's forced. Like it just doesn't feel natural. But who am I? I'm an East Coaster, like through and through. For a lot of my life, I felt like the East Coaster really didn't fit. Like I had this West Coast wanderer mentality, boho sense of style, love to travel. But as I've gotten older, I'm like, no, I am the stereotypical kind of like, I want things when I want them, how I want them. Let's move on. And that's just who I am. Still love to travel. Booked a flight to Morocco this morning to leave in
You
4
did.
weeks. Yeah.
Cool.
That's going to be a solo trip. I'm going to Palm Springs tomorrow. That's going to be a solo trip. So really, really love traveling. Most people do, but I think when I think about the end of my days, one of my most existential worries is that I won't have seen enough of the world. And I'm a reader. Oh my gosh, I'm like a book and magazine hoarder. I love reading. And I'm writing. Writing has always been second nature to me, but it has taken on a different form lately because I'm doing it for myself, which is quite a different thing than, had I said like I'm a communications specialist or strategist. That was a title I wore and probably a through line through my career, but I'm a writer. Yeah.
Okay, good. You claimed it because you said I am writing.
Well, I
And I'm like,
questioned it because I was like, is that a title? Like a career title?
yeah,
I think it's like really who
it
I
could
am.
be.
I'm a writer. Like if I don't
Yeah.
write, I start to feel shaky.
Mhm.
And I spend a lot of time as a primary parent, and there are some amazing things about that. I spend a lot of time thinking about what I wanted. I mean, anyone in our demographic, right? Spending a lot of time thinking about how I want to do things differently than how I experienced my childhood. Not to say it was bad, actually, until about 5 years ago. If you would have asked me about my childhood, I would be like, oh, it's great. Like I had two loving parents, never needed anything. But, you know, running a business and having that teach you so much about yourself and just doing the work. I'm raising a boy and a girl, and who are very, very different, and also bringing up a lot of who I am in that process. And it's a great joy, and it is very difficult. And I love dogs. I know, I had to say it. I am a dog person, and I can't understand
I
people like you who could not love dogs.
Mhm.
It just doesn't.
Okay, you're the second person who brought this up
Yeah,
on the
because you're the
podcast.
problem. Thank you.
I know I don't like dogs. I'm like, we're gonna lose half our listeners. But my guests love and have dogs. There you go. I love that. That's great. I love that. I mean, we have so many opportunities to introduce ourselves with our titles. And also, I know this is like a through line of the stuff that you and I are talking about, what you're thinking about. And because it
Oh, it
doesn't,
doesn't feel good. Like I feel
I
like I
just,
just left out the
yeah.
main point of everything.
Wait, do you want to say it?
No,
Do you
I
want to say it? What
don't,
do you want to
because
say? What else
that's
do you want to
just
say?
my, work. My work is thinking and writing and talking about work. And so to leave that out is this constant question that I have about, well, wait, but that's what I spend all day thinking about. Like not in a sense of who am I without my work, because I've been able to work through that. But more of, I mean, you and I chose the life that we have chosen because it allows us the flexibility to spend time doing the things that we enjoy doing. And so from that perspective, to introduce yourself without any frame of context around how you spend most of your days, or at least most of my days, not you. You're better at this than me. But yeah, feels a little unnerving.
Don't worry, Kim. I'll link to everywhere people can find you.
Thank you. That makes me feel good.
Okay. Will you tell us how old you are?
I'm 40 for now.
And how old do you feel?
Oh, I mean, like emotionally, 85. I think I feel like in my body probably 40. I think I've been reaching for 40 my whole life.
Tell me more.
I have this weird thing where when I was younger, people always thought I was older than I was. And then I can't exactly tell you when it was, but now people think I'm younger. And I definitely don't feel like I look 30 something. I just think the concept of age has shifted so much with like skincare and beauty and all the things that we're doing. Look, I did not use moisturizer on my face until I was 30, I don't know, 37.
I know this about you. I can't.
I didn't even wash my face until probably close to that point. These are like, they're not things that I learned growing up. Like I didn't learn how to do my hair. I didn't know how to do my makeup. I was a tomboy. I was an athlete, whatever. So yeah, I think 40 to me is the age where I always thought, okay, you're like old enough to be taken seriously, but you're not so old that people start to dismiss you for being out of touch. Although having a teenage daughter will very much make you feel out of touch.
Yeah, that was like another question. It's like, what is one narrative, one script that you were given about being a woman at the age that you are now? And does that actually map onto your life?
All. Don't you remember 40 was over the hill? I mean, I have a distinct memory of my dad turning 40. It was the day I got my period. His 40th birthday pool party. Okay. And I just remember it was him and his two best friends, and they had a joint birthday party. And they had these big banners that said "Over the Hill," and somebody brought a cane and it doesn't even matter, like a blow up doll floaty.
We all have this reference point. We can see this. We can see this.
And it was just like, okay, well now you're old. And I just feel, that was how many years? That was 32 years ago. It's just, I feel like now the narrative that I'm hearing, which is amazing, is that 40 is just the beginning. Like, thank God I'm 40. Don't you agree?
Oh, I mean, I feel that so much that I'm doing this podcast. Like, clearly, I'm obsessed with what it means to be 40. And it's like, I feel like I'm just getting started, but also I feel like I've learned a lot. Like, when I feel 40, when I'm like, I've had a decent amount of like things happen. Like, I've had a decent amount of life experience. I've had a decent amount of like, all experience on all the fronts. So I don't feel like I'm brand new, but I do feel like I'm just getting started on a lot of things.
Would you go back to any point?
Really? Yeah. I mean, yeah. I love being a kid. I love being 19. I love being 28. 30s were there were points that were really sweet and then points that were very challenging. I wouldn't be 25 again. That was not a great time. But sometimes like I feel 19 or 17, like when I have the windows down and like I'm in the passenger seat, my feet are out the window and music is on and I'm driving next to my boyfriend, aka my husband. I'm like, this is like, I feel like, wow, am I 17? And I'm just getting started. And I think I probably felt older at earlier points, definitely when I was in Big Law. But I still feel the same sense of possibility that I did when I was like 19 and a sophomore at NYU. And I was like, whoa, the whole big world is out there.
It's interesting because I think that, I mean, we've had different lives. We all have different lives. We all have different reference points and experiences that shape how we feel. And I wouldn't go back to any age. And I almost feel like, is there something wrong with me? But I think because I have done so much inner work and realizing that like the first 40 years of my life, 39 and a half years of my life, I was just like making decisions out of fear. I was so unsettled. I was so ungrounded. I was so reaching for things. And I did not know what it was like to just be present and have that be safe and okay. And so when I think, as you're talking, I was almost judging myself, thinking, oh gosh, is there something wrong with you? Like, did you just speed through life? But I think it's just with this wisdom that I have now, looking back, thinking, oh, you could have just slowed down. Like, you were safe. You were fine.
So that's another question. What would 10 years ago you be surprised to know about you today?
That it was all happening for a reason. And I know that sounds a little cliche, but I really struggled to find my path. And 10 years ago would have been 2016. I looked at, you know how this trend is going around with the,
This is when I feel old. I'm like, what
I
is
don't know the
happening?
trend.
Why are people
I just
posting
see
this?
it.
I don't know.
Okay. Did you see my picture that I put? Yes, you commented on it.
Oh my.
I had like,
I mean, I love you, and I saw
I
that
look
picture.
at it and I'm like, why was nobody saying anything? Like all of the alarms were sounding. I had blonde, like bleach blonde hair, short, very, very short, chunky necklace with like, the Ann Taylor blazer. I just so many different things happening at once. Like the really big fake eyelashes for my fancy photo shoot for my first business ever, or second business. We won't go there. And I just, I don't know. I just kind of wonder why nobody said anything. I looked ridiculous. Like, even if it was 2016, I literally looked like I was trying to find myself. You could pick me out of a crowd and be like, that girl does not know who she is.
So would 10 years ago you be like, oh my God, I know who I am now? I'm so
No,
surprised. Like, what would she be
I
surprised
think
about?
I was just, I think it, I needed to hear that not everything was so urgent. Like I was in such a state of, if I just figure out this one thing, if I just meet this one person, if I just get this thing done. Kath, the reason that I decided to have my first child, get this, who I love very dearly. Like she's amazing. And yet I was like, well, I'm pretty bored at work right now. So it makes sense that I have the time to be able to take time off and have a baby because, as I advance in my career, I'm going to have less time off. And then I'm going to have to make the decision. Like I was 17 steps ahead of where I was. And every decision I was trying to somehow make myself feel like I was in control. I was not in control. And so living from that place of, okay, well, let's do everything possible to avoid the worst case scenario. It was just putting me in that fight or flight mode all the time. And the truth is, I didn't get any further, any faster. Shocking, I know. But I just wish that I could have like slowed down and enjoyed a little bit more of where I was because I was never going to be there again.
That's good. I'm gonna pivot. I told you, you're the first one that I'm doing this kind of like choose your own adventure. So I'm gonna give you a couple categories. I'll give you all the categories and then you pick one. I think we'll do three categories. We'll look at how we're doing. Friendship, marriage, creativity, motherhood, appearance and aging. That's one category. Sex and desire, body, work and career.
Wait.
Just pick one.
All that first stuff was one?
Friendship.
Oh, okay.
No, friendship, marriage, creativity, motherhood, appearance and aging, sex and desire, body, work, and career. Just pick
Motherhood.
one. Okay. How has motherhood changed who you thought you would be?
Well, I think the easiest way to answer that is I didn't know who I was going to be. I just always assumed I would be a mom. I always assumed that it would just slot into my life. I mean, honestly, I was like, well, life is hard, but choose your hard. And the decision to become a mother came very naturally, as did being a mother. But I think that the difficult thing for me was I knew going into motherhood, I didn't want to have to give up what I cared about. And I thought that, okay, well, I just need to be present when they're little. And the thing that's shocked me is how, as they get older, the emotional presence, not just the physical presence, because I'm around my kids so much. And I think that's what's surprised me. And I know the question was about changed me, but it takes a lot to not just be there, but to be open enough to recognize when something's going on that they're not coming to you for. And I want to be I don't want to say I want to be a good mom. I know I'm a good mom. But there's this constant tension that I face every single day that I think I didn't expect, which is I want to be with my children and I resent that all the time because this very life that I've created for myself, one which I thought was full of freedom and flexibility and the ability to be there, has also trapped me because I can never, like, I'm always juggling all the things. And so I can almost never turn it off because I'm like, well, if I'm the most flexible person in the house, then I should be able to go drop off the thing and keep track of the calendar and this and that and whatever. And what I'm left with is 2 hours a day. And my husband never asked me to do this, but it's like, I'm not willing to give up the things that I care so deeply about. And I want to be a good role model for my daughter to be able to say, hey, you can be a mom. You can have really big dreams for yourself. And I know you can't do all the things all the time, but how do you reconcile with, I'm not a stay-at-home mom and I never set out to be one. But sometimes I just feel so trapped in this decision that honestly, if I lived a more conventional life, had a more conventional, traditional job, I don't know, maybe I'd feel guilt that I don't feel now, but I think it might feel for me, just for me, because I can't speak to anybody else, a little bit cleaner because those boundaries would be in place. I wouldn't have to be the one putting them there.
Mm-hmm. We're done. Um, yeah, that's huge. This big. And like so much of that, I'm like, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. I mean, I'm kind of shocked because I'm like a gender and sexuality major at NYU. I'm pretty like whatever. I'm a liberal lady. And I'm shocked how like traditional the kind of gender stuff has actually shaken out in my own life because I too am the more flexible primary parent. Like and we know snow days coming, all this stuff. It's like for the last 8.5 years of parenting, like I'm the one.
And can you put your finger on anything that you would necessarily want to change? Like, do you want to? I think for me, the reason I ask you that question is I asked for this. Like, I wanted this. It's not somehow that this situation I just fell into and I'm stuck here. Like, I want to be here when my kid walks in the door. I want to be the one who has that steady presence. And I also want everyone in this house to recognize how important it is for me to have my big dreams too. And so it feels really hard to ever be able to complain about that because I chose this and I continue to choose this. But it's almost like, I don't know if you feel this way with your kids. Because I'm always here, that is their norm. And it's hard to see the world from their point of view. You can only see it from your point of view. And so in the seconds where I'm like, okay, dad's home, I can walk away, literally everyone just appears wherever I am at the house. And so to hold both feelings of, wow, they feel really safe with me, but also, God, why do they rely on me so much? There's no resolution there. And it's just hard to get things done. I think that's at the end of the day.
Yes. Yes. And yes, and I don't know. Let's save that. I mean, are you going to have a whole conversation about that? There's so much goodness in your answer, though. Do you remember any of the other categories you wanted to do?
Oh, I'm scared to go here, but I think that means probably I should. Let's do the sex and whatever came after that word.
It's not even that
Oh,
sexy. It's more desire. What do you want to do now that you were afraid to want before?
oh, that's a hard one because I have been with my husband for 20 years,
Half of your
half
life.
of my life. And so I don't think you're allowed to want anything, when you settle down and I mean, I'll be real honest because that's just the way I play, but it's hard for me to be able to have conversations about desire when you just see the extremes posted out there. It's like, oh, well, we have a completely open marriage and, everything's fine. Or I'm just leaving my husband because I've outgrown him, or I'm just going to stay no matter what because it's best for the kids. Like those are the narratives that you see around desire. Or the ones that are like, I love my husband more now than I've ever loved him before. And that spark, I'm like, I don't believe you with your 17 children. Like, and you have a full social media influencer setup. Like, I think for me, I don't know if I'm allowing myself to desire. I'm trying to allow myself. It will be a constant work in progress. Something in between the extremes. Because I think that the extremes assume that we know. We like have absolute clarity. And I think when you're talking about within a relationship, within a very long-term relationship, the biggest hurt, the biggest questions that we have are in not knowing. Otherwise, we just move. At least us highly capable women who are, former honor roll competitive athletes, like we can do what we can do, but is this perimenopause or like wanting to blow up my life, or did I have a bad day, or is this how I really feel? Who really knows?
That's the t-shirt. That's the t-shirt from this episode. That's good. That's right. That's
By
right.
the way,
Yeah, no, I
can I
appreciate.
add one thing
Go
to
ahead.
that? Like
Yes.
libido changes are
Mm-hmm.
real. And
Yes.
like this whole I'm hearing more about people taking like women taking testosterone, and then there's functional medicine and all this stuff, and I've been through all the blood work, and like I can't also understand, is this 20 years of marriage? Is this low libido? Is this stress? Am I tired of everyone in every corner of my life wanting something from me? So I just felt like that was important to punctuate it all.
Yeah. I feel like my libido changed as soon as I had my first kid.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, I mean, this is like the stuff, like you said, there's so much like stuff we see that's filtered and like sensational. And I feel like the real conversations we're all having, or like I don't know, the reality of it is just so much more nuanced and so much like more boring or confusing or mundane or whatever. I also, and you and I have talked about this, or maybe we haven't, but I find like there's capacity, right? There's time, there's stress, there's whatever. I find that when I'm in super creativity mode, like I'm making stuff, that definitely has an
Okay, in
impact
what way?
on, oh, all my juice goes there.
Oh, I feel the opposite. I'm like
Interesting.
something unlock. I thought that's where you
You're like,
yeah, like when I'm
no,
allowed
I'm the
myself
opposite.
to like just fully get in it, I'm like, oh my God, like everything wants to rock and roll. Mama's ready.
Oh, I have the opposite. I'm like, I am writing a book.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
Yeah.
it goes there. Like, or like, and I even notice I don't even want to make dinner. Like, I love cooking, but if I am like locked into my creativity, like all those other pleasurable things kind of like fall to the background.
Yes, the deep work. One thing at a time, though.
Yeah. Okay, let's pivot to our last and then we'll get into the 40 portal question. Do you remember the categories? You want me to say them again? What's left over?
Can you choose one for me? You're like, I'm happy to do that.
This is friendship. If you could design the perfect friendship for this season of your life, what would that look like, feel like? What would it
Oh, I
include?
can answer this because that friendship has been on my mind for so long. Must haves. Just because there's silence doesn't mean there's anything wrong, but also checking in on you, right? Like, hey, haven't heard from you. Well, if you're friends with me, you're probably always hearing from me because I'm bothering you with my voice text, but um not just you.
We've
Every
had we've had periods of not talking. We've had periods of
like a
not
few
talking.
weeks, never months since we've met.
Not months, but like maybe 2 months, like seven
No, I
weeks. I
don't.
don't
You're
know.
making this
Maybe.
up. Um
I got receipts. No, I don't know.
yeah, I think it's someone who also I can um is not always rushing to fix something. I think what I need in friendship right now is someone who I can just sometimes be witnessed by. And and also remind me that it's like not that serious. I need some like goofy memes or um like I thought of you when I saw this. That means so much. Um and I think because I'm holding so much for other people, those little things like handwritten notes, or I was just thinking, yeah, I think it's like that I was just thinking about you or checking in on something that I mentioned and like actually holding that. Because I feel like in so many of my relationships, okay, I'll explain this in this way. I'm the type of person where if I meet you, I will never forget meeting you. And I take it very, I won't remember your name, but I will remember your face. Like I will kind of like feel into remembering meeting you. So when I have to be introduced to someone multiple times as if it just didn't cross their radar that we had met, I take that very personally. And so I think reflecting that back to me, my friendship, true friendship circle is quite small, but it's so deep. And I can say the things that are so almost they feel embarrassing to admit. And almost always they're like, yeah, dude, that makes sense. Like just that sense of being seen and witnessed and understood and held in a way that because I'm a mom, because I'm a wife, because I'm a helper in my work, I do for other people, but it's been very rare for someone to be able to do that for me. And also like, hey, love your lipstick today.
I need to send you more memes, is what I'm getting from
No,
this.
that's
I need
not
to
your,
send you more
I feel
memes.
like Can I talk?
Fun. I'm
But
funny.
yeah, you're funny, but can I
Yeah.
like talk directly about our friendship? Like I feel like what I get
Sure.
from that is the like, hey, I'm in the car. Oh, I kind of got like a little emotional there for a second. Oh, I'm not gonna cry on a podcast. God. Um, in the morning, just somebody saying, hey, just drop the kids off. I'm thinking about you. Like, what's going on for you today? And it means so much. Like sometimes, you know, see my eyes. Um,
I love
um,
it.
like we joke how we're like, okay, here's my to-do list for the day. You're welcome for hearing that. But like, oh, just like having that person that's like, I tell you this because I know you're going through it too. And it's not always sexy. And most of the time it's not, but it's real. And like, we're in it together. Um, Here we go. Leave it to me to just fall apart in the last 5 minutes.
You made me cry. You made me cry a little. Well, you described that to me because you would go, "Oh, thanks, Kath, for your proof of life," and that's what it is. It's like we're not always
No.
seen, and so much of what we do doesn't get seen, and so it is that like I just dropped off the kids. Here's the total chaos that has happened so far, and I wanted to do this. I didn't get to do this. I still have to do this. This is not. It's like proof of
Proof of
life.
life.
And thank God for voice texting, voice memos. It's the superhero language of women in midlife, I think. It is like our superpower, our
Yeah,
voice
because we're
memos.
making coffee and we're avoiding what we're needing to do the most at work and we're doing laundry and we're, all the things. Because otherwise, if somebody like my mother will just text me these long I'm like, my fingers don't work this way. I have to be on my desktop to be doing real business. So if we talk about age, like that's my 85-year-old coming out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good. Okay, 40 portal wisdom. This is I'm just gonna read you one line of this. This is from my friend Amanda. She wrote this in the book on the night of my birthday party, which is like the origin of this whole project. And she was about to turn 45. So she's like got 5 years on us. And she said, Kath, welcome to the decade of giving a little less.
Is that a period?
Oh, that's all I'm going to read. Welcome to the decade of giving a little
Dun, dun,
less.
dun.
What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, there is just something energetically about I have lived half my life making decisions based on how I think other people are going to respond. And if we're going to be honest, I know you chose this because of the recent conversations that we've been having. Maybe one yesterday where I was like, can you just tell me to do the thing that I want to do? And you're like, do the thing you want to do. Do the thing you want to do. Like, it's not guaranteed to work out either way. And this is my focus. And I know we've had conversations around like, is it really 40 when this stuff starts to alchemize, or is it 41? Do we need a full year in? But I just, I've tried all the things. I've worn all the hats. I've had all the titles. I've met all the people. I think that a large part of my suffering is of my own making because I am trying to anticipate and get in front of a reaction and then manipulate myself to somehow be like the answer for someone else. And along the way, I get resentful, I get exhausted, I get burned out, I get spread too thin. And so I 100% agree with your friend who I hope to meet one day because this is where I'm at. I am constantly grounding myself in, but what do I want? Because if it's what I really want, I know there's a reason for that. I could get all woo woo and, spiritual, but it's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. It's just learning to trust myself more. For 40 years, I was taught not to trust myself. And yeah, I mean, I got to where I was, but I just think there's so much more ease that could be on the other side. And particularly in work, like in business, that's where my mind goes, because that's where I feel like I'm doing the most suffering right now. Not asking for what I need or not saying this is how it's going to go and leading myself and then letting go. Being like, you come along or not, but it's not my job to convince anymore.
Okay, Kim. Okay. I mean, I don't even know where to start. The question, is this perimenopause, wanting to blow up my life, or a bad day, or how I really feel? Who really knows? That line, I keep coming back to it because I think it's one of the most honest things that any one of us can say about where we are right now. And it's also one that feels kind of terrifying to say out loud. And there's so much power when we do. So here's what I want to leave you with today. If that landed or something else landed for you in this episode, or there was a moment where you thought, yes, that, I want you to do two things. Two things. First, send this episode to a woman in your life who needs to hear it. You know who she is. She just hasn't heard the episode yet. Send it to her. Second, leave us a review. Leave the 40 Portal podcast a review. A specific one, not just 5 stars, although I will take those too, but tell us what landed. Tell me what landed. Tell me what you're thinking about. Tell me what you want to hear more of. And those reviews help us make better episodes in the future and also helps other women find this podcast. Okay, I have 2 spots left in the June retreat, June 17th through the 19th here in the Hudson Valley. Small group, real work, in person. The link is in the show notes. Okay, thank you so much for simply being here. I will see you right back here in the portal next week.